So this wretched man named Elios5, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He made a game called The Best Sword Fighting AI with a question mark at the end, and I'm gonna tell you that I think this is definitely the best sword fighting AI. And as you can see, as I try to fight him, it is nearly impossible. I just die every single time. But I was trying for like 20 minutes. I couldn't beat him. I put my FPS, you can barely see it, but I put my FPS no cap, so it was about like 500 plus FPS. And this was like nearly impossible, so I decided there was only one way I'd be able to beat this sword fighting NPC. I needed to get better at sword fighting. And the only way I could think of to get better at sword fighting would be going to the place where the best sword fighters are. The most tryhards on Roblox is in fencing. So I made my way into fencing. As a normal person would do, and you know, at first I don't think I really found sword fighters, you know, and it just looked like everybody was doing things that Roblox usually does not let you do. So first server down on fencing, I just left, and here this next server I joined, and yeah, these people didn't really want to sword fight either. So you know, I said third time's the charm, and I joined again for some reason, but this time there's actually people who wanted to sword fight. At first I was destroying my foes easily. Okay, just ignore that fight. Okay, that fight didn't happen, okay? But eventually I found my match, Alpha_KennyBoy2. And this guy, he was like a god at sword fighting, you know. I couldn't beat him once. It was nearly impossible. I thought, this man is so good, he has to be my mentor. So I asked him if he could teach me some of his skill, and I told him I was on a mission. And he told me that he couldn't explain his skill in words. So I fought him once more, and I lost, and, you know, without anything gained, I left empty-handed. But then, I had a great idea. I decided to join Sword Fight on the Heights, the original place where all the tryhards would go to sword fight. So I went around absolutely demolishing people. I was looking for somebody who'd be better than me and could teach me. My first major loss was against this guy named Fork. Although, he just started spinning with 1,000 reach because he was in an argument, and then started killing everybody on the map. Eventually though, I met this guy named I_Wish. It was just like Alpha, where I couldn't beat him every single time I tried to fight. I would lose. Except for this first time, I kinda absolutely clapped him right there. Anyways, once we got into fair playing ground, it was clear that he was the better sword fighter. All he had to do was turn around and kill me. And it didn't even seem like he was touching me. Like, let me get a check on that hitbox. But yeah, eventually I decided he was the one who would teach me, so I asked him for tips. And you know what he did? He looked at me, shaked his head, and then went AFK. And I was almost giving up. I almost thought there was no way I'd ever learn anything from joining these servers and asking people for tips. I almost left empty-handed again, with no knowledge. However, when I was going off the bridge, I saw this guy, Officer_Mannequin. Every time I tried to fight him, I lost, and that's when I decided he would be my mentor. I asked him if he could give me any tips, because I'm on an important mission, and this man, he said, "Groove when you attack." And I was thinking, groove? That must be like an unheard skill. And then he showed me that I think he just meant curve. He just like circled around it. I said, okay, and I told him that I'm trying to fight an AI that is very strong, and I told him that I would use his knowledge very well to beat him, and then I went away. Back to fighting the world's strongest AI in Roblox. Right when I joined, I tried to use this new skill to my advantage, and it did not end well. I was basically making the same amount of progress I made before. So this is when I decided, how about I just look up some tips on YouTube, how to get better at sword fighting. I found this video by LemoLol, and I thought, this was perfect. I'm going to use all of these tips to beat the AI. The first tip was, when you see the enemy try to attack you, never run forward to the enemy. It taught me that I have to wait a second and then attack when they're walking up on me. And I was like, that sounds perfect. You know, I'm going to use this to my advantage and I'm going to win. At first, you know, I really didn't do that. And then I kind of stood still and the AI just kind of took a second to kill me. And then, after waiting, yeah, it didn't work. There you have it. So I was like, okay. Maybe the second tip is gonna give me more information, like I build onto it. So the second tip, never look straight at your enemy when you're about to attack the enemy. I was gonna use this to my advantage. It told me to walk sideways, and I thought, that's perfect, that's what I need to do. You know, if you look at the AI, he kind of walks sideways towards you. So I was like, this is gonna work perfectly. I added them both. I waited a second, then walked sideways. Yeah, okay, that doesn't work either. I decided to go to the next video I had lined up. Lunge timing. Basically, in Roblox sword fighting, you have 2 attacks with your sword. You can do a normal slash, or you could lunge. Lunging does the most damage, but it has a cooldown right after you use it when your sword goes straight up. So the theory here was if you waited right for the sword to go up in the air, they would not be lunging. So if you attacked right in there, you wouldn't take any damage and do way more damage than they would to you. And in theory, if you used it correctly, you could win without taking any damage if you timed it right. So I went to work. I waited for the lunge, and then I attacked right when the sword went straight. At first it took a second getting used to, but then I had gotten to a match where I got really close and I thought I was gonna win until I choked. I kept trying to no avail, and this is when I realized I needed to be the dummy. This AI was so strong, and clearly what I needed to be was just like the AI. That would make me the best sword fighter. So I changed my avatar, and I went all gray. This definitely did not help, and I just repeatedly got destroyed. So I decided there's only one way I could truly be like the dummy. I went up, changed my name to Dummy, and with the combination of the gray character and the name of Dummy, I would be able to win. This would be the missing puzzle piece that I needed to beat this AI. And at first, it was kinda going okay, but I was still having the same problems as I did before. 20 long minutes passed by of me just attempting and attempting, until I realized something. If I got the first hit, I could just go crazy and try to win. I could use that paired with lunge timing to wait for the dummy to lunge, and then right when his sword is up straight, just go completely ham on the dummy. And this was actually working. I had multiple times where I got him to red health, and I almost won, except I obviously saw that the player wins was still the same.
I'ma be real, you know, when I with my girl, she said too big at the matches. How was you feeling, bro? Feeling like the 4, I feel fantastic. Which one would you be, though? Mr. Fantastic, cause I'm money like a less. Burberry truck, Franco, you smoke oregano, I'm smoking on the catches. I'ma be real, you know, when I'm with my girl, she said too big at the map. Hey, water that pussy like Baptist. Too far, my sauce need an atlas. Her pussy hungry and starving, so my dick ain't what I use is a damn cat. Rap game on faster than fast, so be real, all these niggas, I might overlap them. Never mind, I done might cap them. Just like a taser, I zap them. Shock. I fuck a bitch in the dark. My diamond shine in the dark. We did that smoke like a fart. I'ma go just like.
But at the end of those 20 long, painstaking minutes, I finally got myself to win. By waiting for him to finish his lunge and just going absolutely crazy on him, I was able to get the 4,506th win in the best sword fighting AI.